Could they pull off a halfway decent sequel? Well, it's just like riding a bull. Welcome to Primetime Mitch, everybody, and today's review is going to be on the recently released Happy Gilmore 2. Out on Netflix yesterday. I immediately got home and watched this as soon as I possibly could. And just for starters, I am a massive fan of the original. It is my favourite comedy of all time. I don't often watch a lot of comedy movies. I have specific favourites, British ones, a lot of British comedies I like, Full Monty, With Nail and I, those kind of movies. But in terms of American comedies, there was a lot of American Pie going around, Van Wilder, Superbad, things like Walk Hard. I do have a lot of comedy movies that I actually have a lot of affection for, but it's not my favourite genre. But Happy Gilmore always stood at the top of the mountain. It was my favourite ever. So when I heard this was coming out, I was somewhat excited but a little bit worried, because I am quite vocal about how a lot of modern writing and a lot of restrictions on comedy, especially nowadays, damage the magic of movies before when they try to recreate them, reboot them, put sequels on. And I was worried for that. I really wish this had been a cinematic release. I would have loved to have gone to the cinema to watch this, but it's a Netflix thing, so at least it was immediately accessible. And I heard, obviously, that Christopher McDonald was coming back, that Julie Bowen would be coming back, and I expected a selection of things from this movie, and I think that that's what has made me review this very easily. Number one, I wanted some throwbacks. I love the first one so much that it has so many quotable moments. It has so many standout scenes in it that there's no way you couldn't recreate or reimagine some of them. I just wanted to see some throwbacks, and in a creative way. You can't exactly carbon copy them, you can adapt them to the stories. That's what I wanted. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to see Adam Sandler play Happy Gilmore one more time. I wanted to see Shooter McGavin, because he is one of my favourite movie characters of all time. I actually have a signed photo of him somewhere in the attic for when we move. And I wanted to feel that nostalgia. But more importantly, I just wanted to laugh. And what I will say is, I went to watch I Know What You Did Last Summer immediately before this, and I think that helped, because I needed some light relief, and I got light nostalgic relief from this. Now, I'm not going to put any spoilers in this section. There will be spoilers coming up. So I will let you know the cut-off point if you've not seen this movie, and you can bookmark this and come back later and listen to my spoiler-filled thoughts. But for now, I just want to say that I really enjoyed this. I had so much fun and so much joy with the majority of it. It has got that modern spin. It has got some moments which they could have done without, and it obviously doesn't capture the magic of the original. Nothing will. But as an experience and a comedy movie I could sit down and smile at, this gave me everything. I thought Christopher McDonald was amazing as Shooter McGavin, a real character arc as well. I'll discuss that later. But just to see him absolutely throw everything into this was brilliant. He looked like he had the best time ever. Adam Sandler's performance is a bit deeper, obviously, than the first, and it's not what you expect. But I like watching Adam Sandler act. You know, he can be too silly at times. I never really liked that voice he used to put on in Little Nicky and Mixed Nuts and things like that. That was never my favourite version of Adam Sandler. I like to see him play roles like this and roles like The Longest Yard. And though he did make good movies in The Waterboy and Billy Madison with that sort of silly voice persona, I quite like him as a straight-laced actor playing comedy in his normal way. I prefer that version of Adam Sandler more, which is probably why my two favourite films of his are Happy Gilmore and Longest Yard. There is some very brave decisions made in this movie, in particular at the beginning, which I was absolutely shocked at and had to press pause for a moment. Again, we'll discuss those later. There are some celebrity cameos in this at the end. I don't think were that necessary or really added anything to the movie. And I do think that the whole maxi golf idea is a little bit far-fetched and ludicrous, but I guess that's what we're trying to do to sport nowadays. I'm from Britain, and I see what's happening to football or soccer in America. I see what's happening to our game over here, and I don't really like the sensationalism that goes on and the way it's overblown into this circus, if you will. And a lot of that sort of I was feeling during the end, but it wasn't bothering me. It was freshening it up, I thought. I thought the cameos, a lot of people have problems with the amount of cameos in this movie. I was okay with it for the most part. Like I said, some of the guys watching the event at the end I didn't think was necessary, but I liked the cameos in this. I thought Eminem's cameo was very funny. MJF looked like he was having fun in his role. The golfers, amazingly, like Rory McIlroy, people like that, just watching them acting in this movie was surreal in itself. And I just wanted to have fun, and I think this gave us fun. It's a over-the-top, sillier version of the first one. Yes, again, it doesn't have the magic, but it gave us something a bit wild and a bit out there. I get if people don't enjoy it and think it's absolutely nonsense and silly and too over the top and nothing like the original, which it was never going to be, but I sort of expected and prepared, and I enjoyed it. And I think for die-hard fans, it's going to be a bit Marmite, this movie. You're either going to think it's an absolute joy and it brought back all that nostalgia and all that feeling, or you're going to be like, I love the magic of the original, this gave me nothing. So I get both sides of it. I'm on the positive side of this one. I had a lot of fun. I would happily watch it again. And that will conclude my spoiler-free review. I'm going to cut it off now. The spoilers are from here on. If you don't want to know about this movie and what goes on in it specifically, switch off now, bookmark this video, and come back and listen to what I have to say once you've seen it, and you'll either agree or disagree with me. As ever, just before I go into my spoiler review, please be wonderful people for me and smash a like down below on this video and hit that subscribe button, and importantly that notification bell, because I am throwing out these videos quite regularly now, and it'd be nice if you were able to catch up with them as soon as they hit YouTube. And your support is massively appreciated, and this journey is so fun and I can't wait to keep going with all of you. Spoilers incoming, here we go. I was saying to Amy Horror while we were watching this, when I hear Tuesday's Gone by Lynyrd Skynyrd, I'm gonna cry. It's one of my favourite songs. It was introduced to me as a kid by this movie. I'd heard a few Skynyrd songs, but this was one that I wasn't familiar with. So when this hit, the first time I heard it, I was like, this is an amazing song, and it became one of my favourites, and it's the anthem for this movie. So I said to her, if we hear that, I'm going to be so happy. And then Julie Bowen's character is killed. And then Tuesday's Gone hits. And I was too open-mouthed and shocked to appreciate the song coming in. Absolutely amazing decision. Some may not like that, and I can appreciate they've made a real bold move by doing that. She is interspersed in the movie in terms of little visions and flashbacks and sequences, but I thought we were going to go on a journey with the two of them. I did not expect that coming, and it actually is quite dark. And I think at the beginning I was like, this is a lot darker than I was expecting it to be. You know, you get that whole depression angle, the drunk, you know, he's an alcoholic now and he's trying to pick his life up. I wasn't sure what direction they were going in, and obviously now he has all these sons and one girl who is a dancer, and he wants to try and fund her. It's a bit like what he was trying to do for his grandma's house. We get that house again, which is great to see, but he's in the same predicament and golf has got to get him out of it. I thought the comedy was a little bit dilute at the beginning because it was all so serious, but then it starts opening out and you see him returning to golf, and it's the golf really, and it's his venture back into the sport, which I think picks the film up from what is quite a surprising start. I thought the throwbacks were very subtle and nicely done in this. Many won't agree. I liked how they took an element of the first movie and they turned it around into something else in this, but the same thing. The same thing with the caddy. He picks a waiter that's just been sacked to be his caddy, who knows nothing about what he's doing, and he's still got the socks over the clubs. And it's very similar to the caddy he picks out in the first one, who's washing his car and he's a down and out, and he brings him into the fold and he becomes a success with him. It's a similar story, just a little bit different. And you see a lot of that throughout. They make these references to the first, but it's just a little bit different each time, and I was totally all right with that. Also, one of the biggest criticisms I've seen of this movie is the flashbacks. And again, it's one I do understand, because I've never liked movies that sort of want to remind us without us making up our mind ourselves. And that can be detrimental to the movie. I do get it. There was a movie that did that recently and it didn't work. But in this one, it was just a nostalgic flashback. And it was just nice as well. I like to see the parallel between what they look like then and what they look like now. It's just, I guess a lot of that's for non-fans. I would like to think that people will be smart enough to watch the original before they watch this one, so they shouldn't need a reminder. But it was just nice to see the parallels and see the people now compared to then. Again, that's just my taste. I guess a lot of people would have been a bit pissed off with that. Happy obviously makes it into this tournament where if he finishes in a certain place, he can get as much money as possible, but he has problems along the way with being fined for being drunk, and he sort of goes off the rails. You've got that strange subplot where Ben Stiller's character is running the Alcoholics Anonymous group that Happy is in. God knows how he got into that situation, considering he's the least compassionate person on earth. Don't know how much sense that made, but at the same time, it gave him the freedom to be the obnoxious prick that he is and was in the first one. I sort of was hoping that Happy would actually knock him out at some point, because if somebody had treated my grandmother the way he treated her, they wouldn't get a chance to say hello. But he sort of calms himself and just sits in the group and takes it all until the conclusion where he gets his comeuppance, which again is a bit far-fetched, but it's still nice to see. And there's a lovely recreation of Shooter's predicament at the end of the first one, now manifesting in Ben Stiller's horrible character, and he gets his comeuppance in the very same way. So again, the throwbacks were nice. I liked the little references here and there. I thought there was some laugh out loud moments. Again, I'm jumping a bit ahead, but I don't really want to do this in order too much because it's a bit regimental otherwise. But I really liked the bit with the sons and the baguettes, the big breadsticks, and the doing the bull dance in front of the guard. I laughed heavily at that. I thought that was so funny. I did like some of the new takes on the drive, when he hits that drive and he's hitting somebody else's ball in midair, or he's breaking the flagpole. I loved seeing Shooter McGavin hit that chip into the hole in his first golfing activity in 30 years. I thought that was great. It was a really nice feel-good moment. And speaking of Shooter McGavin, he is my favourite character in the whole thing, and one of my favourite movie characters, as I've said, of all time. And his character arc in this is bizarre. I did not see it coming. Again, this is going to be not to everybody's taste. Many people would have loved to have seen Happy versus Shooter one last time, and others would have been like, I don't want to see that, I want to see something a bit different because we've already seen that. If you're in the latter camp, you got something different here. What a character arc. He comes back and he is still in love with golf, the sport, and he can't see it being destroyed, which actually makes sense because in the first one, he is pissed off that all these punks and rockers and crazy people are attending golf when he is a traditionalist. It would not have made sense for him to side with the enemy in this movie and that angle that they were going in. And obviously one of my favourite lines in the whole of comedy, let alone Happy Gilmore, is when he chips the ball into the crowd and he walks through them and says, "Excuse me, I'm looking for my ball, this is golf."
Excuse me, I just got to get through, I'm looking for my ball, this is golf.
It's one of my favourite lines ever. I loved that, and that was just, that's his persona. He wouldn't have sided with Frank, the CEO of the Maxi company, who is a very strange character throughout. Again, you have to sort of get used to him being the villain in this instead of somebody like Shooter. There's a big drop off in that, I do understand, but the whole character arc of his gingivitis and everything was interesting. It made for a really funny moment when Haley Joel Osment is stood behind him and the wind's blowing. You probably understand what I mean there, but I thought that was really funny. And again, I just thought it was a fun ride. It does have its flaws. It's not got what the original had. It will never be able to capture that, but nothing will. It's just like with a lot of original movies, when they are that good, you can't really improve on them. If you can't improve on them, it is questionable whether you should try and recreate them. But I think this one did it in a respectful way. It gave you a nice ending. Again, the beginning was questionable, but I was sort of on board with it because it was something a bit different. I can't say I was happy with it, but I sort of grew to like things a bit more than my dislike of that. All in all, this movie was a nice reminder of Happy Gilmore. And although it's nowhere near, and although it will never be, it still, to me, made me smile. It made me laugh. It gave me a good time. And that's all I really care about at the end of the day. I went in with expectations. all of them were met. I got some surprises along the way. I've got to say that it's put me in a pretty good mood having watched it, and I do look forward to one day watching it again, maybe watch both of them as a double bill. But that's my opinion of Happy Gilmore 2, the Netflix release. If you haven't seen it, please switch on Netflix to check it out. It is worth it. I think it was fun. You're either going to hate it or you're going to love it. But either way, you're going to have an opinion on it. That's what these movies are for. That's what's the wonderful thing about this community. One person's trash, as I've said, is another person's treasure. This was my treasure. I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy with it as a sequel. I kind of hope they don't do any more. I'm happy with that. Leave it at that. Probably shouldn't touch any of the other mainstream Adam Sandler movies and the more successful ones. I would leave them alone, and he should probably go on to something new and do a different project now. But in conclusion, I loved Happy Gilmore 2. Whether I'm in the minority or the majority, that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Thanks guys for watching this video. I really hope that you have the same opinion as me. If you didn't, or if you do and you just want to endorse what I said, please drop it in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of this release, whether you loved it, whether you hated it, what you liked, what you disliked. What was your experience with this long awaited sequel to what to me is an absolute all-time classic comedy? Thanks for watching guys. Drop that like and that subscribe down below. I will love you for it. I really appreciate your viewing. Take it easy, and I'll catch you another time.